welcome to the Bridge Christian Fellowship podcast. This is season 2. I am your co-host, Reese Ward, and I'm here with your other co-host, Nick Boone.
What's up, guys?
And this is fun that we have video running. We are doing our best to make this podcast more accessible to all of our body. And a bunch of you were like, please put this thing on YouTube. So we are doing video of it. And we're learning how to do this as we go. So that's why we have strategically named these conversations Room for Mistakes, because it embodies the not only the heart of what we believe discipleship should look like, but also us figuring out this podcasting thing. Anyways, this is season 2 of Room for Mistakes, and we are launching a new theme for this series of conversations. We have... not really as a guest, as a third co-host, Pastor Brandon Kindelberger on the podcast. What's up?
I'll insert a clap.
Why am I so nervous? So nervous to be on here.
It's so fun that we're doing this right in the sanctuary, right at the table, which is where Pastor Brandon and many other guests have been preaching from and teaching from on Sunday mornings. And anyways, it's a fun setting for this next season. So the last season was an intro season talking about discipleship and what does authentic discipleship look like. We were in Hebrews chapter 10 and 10:23 through 25 is like our anchor verses for that season. And so as we're examining missions as the theme of this season, it's going to be missions and discipleship. Why is discipleship an essential aspect of being on mission with Jesus, going on mission? And also, how does being on mission form us as disciples? So kind of discipleship both ways. And so anyways, as we've been in going through the Word as a church together, 2 Corinthians has been where we've been like for the last many months, I think right after Easter. So since April, we've been in 2 Corinthians. Is that right?
Basically, we haven't made it very far.
Yeah.
It's like May.
We're like for
May,
the
June.
First 7 chapters. Is that right?
Something like that.
Something like that. She I think Cindy Newman hit on like the beginning of chapter 7 this past week. It's been awesome. I mean, I don't see any reason why we would even need like to rush it. It's been so good. And that the theme for that has been living letters. And the anchor verse for this season, I think, is a really great marriage between the theme of what we're going to talk about in missions over the next many weeks on the podcast and where we've been in the Word as a church together. It's Isaiah 52, verse 7. I'm in the ESV that says, "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of happiness, who publishes salvation, and who says to Zion, your God reigns." ESV using the word publish is a really cool translation because we're doing this living letters theme where would our life not only share the word through spoken word, but through the word lived out in our lives? Would people be able to look at our life and see the word written on us as a letter, being letters that are written not on tablets of stone, as that verse says in 2 Corinthians 3:3, but on the human heart. Mm-hmm. So, with all that said, the whole goal here, missions as the kind of the first theme and discipleship that we're jumping into in season 2, is special, I think, to our church because this church has a history of being mission forward, mission minded has been the phrase I've heard a lot of the times. Totally. But I think missions is at the heart of what this local body does, what the Bridge Christian Fellowship does. And, I think that we've talked about missions here in even lately as to mean more than just the short-term trips that we take as a church, but to also include what we do right here in our community. And honestly, that our life would be defined by it. That's the way that I hear you talk about missions the most, is that you and your family are on mission. kind of everywhere that you go. So I guess where I want to start going into this conversation, and I will share a little bit too, but when you really kind of gave yourself over to everything in my life is ruled by you, Jesus, and maybe you can even start from like when that moment was. What was it that got you to catch the vision for being on mission for Jesus, and ultimately taking you to the nations? Where did that start?
Well, it started my first mission trip in Guatemala. We were in, I don't know what I shared on the first time I was on the podcast, so please forgive me. But
That's good.
You share whatever you want to share.
Yeah.
But my heart for mission started at 19, going on that trip and realizing that my life looked nothing like Jesus, even though I professed Jesus with my mouth all the time. Watching my pastor at that time give water from his camel pack to all these children. And me, I had already refused water to these children because it was hot and sweaty, and I only had one Nalgene, and I need to make it 8 hours. And, all this justification in my mind of, I can't share water. Like, what? I got to make it through the day. But then watching my pastor freely give it away was this moment where I really heard the Holy Spirit. And it sounds so mean, but it's not. It was convicting, not shameful, of, you profess me very well with your mouth. Your actions are far from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a moment where I'm like, man, I'm not even really living for you, Jesus. I didn't come on this trip really for Jesus. I came for my friends, came for the girls, I came for all the wrong reasons. But that was a moment of humility and getting humbled by the Holy Spirit. And then that is probably the start of I would say the start of surrendering my life over to Jesus. Not just salvation alone, but salvation that led to a repentive act and to go his way, to walk his way.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, being in a conference and hearing, like, is anyone willing to do missions, and watching people stand up for missions? Like, that's easy call. Anyone willing to be a martyr? And I stood up for that one. And not really knowing what I was standing up for, but then hearing these words like, you're going to be the freest person in the world. Because if you're willing to die for Christ, you'll actually be willing to live for Christ, like with abandon. So sweet. I owned those words, and I ran with those words, and it's made me, it started shaping the lifestyle that I went to from that moment on.
And you've been to places where your life has been at risk.
Sure.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, sure.
On a number of occasions. You don't necessarily have to hash out that, but it, standing up for those words actually meant something that ended up leading you to saying yes to opportunities where it was like, it wasn't safe, and you did that anyways.
Some of them out of immaturity. Like, I'll start with that one. I mean, the year after that trip, I was a youth leader at the church, and I was one of the newest youth leaders, so they didn't really trust me with the kids yet. They're like, Brandon, we're sending you into the red light district. We're doing prostitution ministry in downtown Vancouver, Canada. And I'm like, okay. But because they didn't really trust me with kids yet, like teens, I was out on my own, me and this other YWAM leader. And so, I mean, this pimp, can I say that word?
Yeah.
Had a gun to me and said, stop talking to my woman, stop talking to my prostitute. And I just said, I'm not going to stop. You can shoot me if you want, but I'm not going to stop. And so it wasn't like the most, I was sold out. I'll just put it that way. I was sold out, preached the gospel, told the guy to shut up. And I just kept preaching the gospel to this woman and handed her rose and asked if she wanted to get out of here. And fearfully, but we did. We got out of there, and a shot never went off. But it was a scary day. How old would I have been? 20?
Yeah.
We got to get that on a sticker. Like, tell the guy to shut up and preach the gospel.
Yeah, yeah, something. We could figure it out. It was a day. It was a day that tested what I stood up for. Like literally stood up for. I wouldn't want to put youth in that moment.
Yeah.
Looking back on it,
came
back with one of the coolest stories, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, fair enough.
Well, I guess the reason why I bring that up to begin with is because I think that, especially in the Western church, we definitely preach missions within reason a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And, there is an element of, I don't know. I mean, there's an element of I think, missions that gets neglected because we want to be sensible, and we call it wisdom, and I feel like we just overlook like a big part of, especially the New Testament, where pretty much everyone that was sharing the gospel at the time, their life was at risk for doing it.
Yeah,
and we've lived long enough in this country where that's never been a threat, where I feel like we've become desensitized to the idea that sharing the gospel is worth that price.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. We're making this podcast today because we're shutting off church live stream this Sunday, which is going to date what I just said. So sorry about that, but it's true because I want to have this conversation with the church.
Yeah.
And I can't say the things that I want to say right here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it to our congregation. So, so those that aren't at church, if you're watching it this Sunday, is that cool to say? Like, is it going to be on, or am I?
I can always record just a video of you. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's
sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's good.
But this is the conversation I want to have with the church.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm excited about. So
yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Well, I guess, my point is like, it's not irresponsible to teach that to the church. That's what I think most churches in the West struggle with the most, is when someone actually gets up and says, it's not too much your life is not too much to pay. The people are like, whoa,
But my life.
That's a crazy thing to tell people. You never know. They might actually go risk their life for the gospel. And it's like that's yes. And I mean, my mission, and I guess this, I want to come back to that idea, but my missions experience is not that extensive. Like, the first missions trip I ever went on was Madagascar almost 2 years ago. Like, that's the first. Well,
awesome.
Actually, that's not fair. That's not fair, because right before I did do a trip to West Virginia with our youth that summer, I got out of order which trip came first. So my first missions trips took place that year in 2023. Summer of 2023, I went to West Virginia with our youth to go work in some of the poorest neighborhoods, and we went together to that trip, and it was incredible, and worked in some of the poorest neighborhoods in the United States, which is great, up in the mountains of West Virginia, and then to Madagascar that October. And and then beyond that, I led a team of young adults and youth to Hungary the following year. And I wouldn't say that my life was at risk in any of those trips at all. But it definitely made me reconcile with what I was willing to pay when it came to, going on mission for Jesus, whether it was a short-term trip or a long-term trip or what I was doing right at home. How much of myself was I willing to give? Doing those things forced me to ask that question to myself. What was your first trip that you ever did? You've been doing missions, I think, for longer than me.
I don't know. I think my very first missions trip that I can remember. So sorry, Mom and Dad, if I forget one that you took me on when I was a kid. But the one that I can remember choosing to go to was, we did a local outreach to Washington, D.C. And we worked with a YWAM team there. And and we just went to like all the popular like local spots, and we just set up like drum circles and worshiped out loud and played djembes and strummed guitars and shouted and then when people would naturally be drawn to the music, then we would just start sharing the gospel with them. And
that's awesome.
And then also we went out, 2 by 2 and went to other people and But yeah, man, that was probably my. It was fun. It was really fun. Just the whole like, there's just like a measure of just put off the preference and just do the thing, be obedient and do the thing. It's like, yeah, okay, so we have to shower at odd times because the whole entire group of 200 people are all sharing 6 showers, and that gets confusing. But, like, it's inconvenient. So what? Like, that's not the point. The point is to lay down your preference and just be obedient and do the thing the Lord is asking you to do.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me, when I was a pastor in Idaho, we had these refugee groups coming from Congo and Ethiopia, and these kids started becoming our youth group, which was really unique situation.
Yeah.
Watching our youth group really be so diverse. And the same thing, I wanted these kids to go on a mission trip. I just really feel like missions are so pivotal in the discipleship process. That's why I'm such a huge advocate for short-term missions. Is it the best for the country that we're going to? It actually does help being in the mission field in Madagascar.
Yeah.
It helps when teams come. It revitalizes you, but we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But taking these kids like on a mission trip, we couldn't leave the country, right? They're not U.S. citizens yet.
Yep.
They don't have passports yet. None of the stuff. So I'm like, what could I do? Oh, I'll take them around Idaho.
Yeah.
Where no one has probably ever met a refugee, and it's going to be like reverse missions. That's how it's going to feel. They're going to be like, I'm meeting the nations in my own backyard, literally.
Yeah.
And these kids
That's
are going to get
wild. That's kind of sick.
crazy outdoor, like back small town Idaho feel. It was so fun. These
awesome.
kids would go chop wood, for people, and they wouldn't know what to think.
Yeah.
Like, Idaho's not racist. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
It's just this is a new experience for some of those small towns, and to see my Congolese son, to see these Congolese kids, to see these kids from Eritrea that now they're here in their backyard. Like, are we supposed to, what do we do? And then they realize they're just wonderful people that love Jesus, and they're serving me. Like, the least of these in their mind are now the ones at my house serving me. Yeah. It was reverse missions. It was wild and beautiful, and these kids will never forget it. Now they're adults, which is so fun. Yeah. And they're serving in their churches around Idaho at the moment. And
so awesome.
Anyway.
So I read that.
Just remind me when you're like taking showers at random times, because sometimes I would have to get the hose and be like, okay, line up.
You're just
bottles of Dawn dish soap,
and I'm just like,
that's awesome.
Okay, go jump in the lake. Here's your soap.
That's awesome. So I read this article a few years ago on desiringgod.org or whatever it is. I think it's .org. It's John Piper's website. Of this missions family who didn't specify who they were, but they didn't even specify specifically what they did, other than they spent most of their time doing long-term missions in Iraq. And there was a moment where, so they, it was a fun article because it really crossed like theological boundaries. They grew up, like the people that were writing the article about their experience, they were like, we grew up Reformed, which I don't even know, to be honest with you, like what reform totally means. People throw that word around, and I'm like, okay, like I don't exactly know what that means, but they're like, they grew up with like this Calvinist predestination theology, and we grew up with, we don't believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit being continued in use today. And they're like, when we were on the missions field in Iraq, all that got thrown out the window. They're like, we would spend 3 to 4 hours every morning praying, asking the Holy Spirit, take us to where the souls are ready to hear the gospel. And the Lord was faithful to do that every time. They would lead people to salvation, and they would just have someone break out praying in tongues. And they're like, they were like, the first time that happened, we're like, what is happening? We didn't think this still happened today. So like the idea of like what God does and all the finely tuned theologies they had growing up, all that got shattered on the mission field when they actually walked it out with Jesus. And there was this sense that unless we walk with the leading of the Holy Spirit every day, we're in danger. Like we cannot go to where God calls us to go unless we are constantly asking him every day, where do you want us to go? Because it was so dangerous to be missionaries where they were missionaries. And the whole point of saying all this is that they spent all these years doing it in Iraq, and then they had this opportunity to come home to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And they came home to the U.S. and they said that they started to experience spiritually this sleepiness, this this weariness that scared them. So much so that they looked at each other, this couple, and they were like, "We got to go back. We're falling asleep here. Yeah. I can't keep doing this." And so they left. They left the States. They came back to the States for a short period of time. They went right back to the heart of Iraq, where they couldn't even tell people where they were going because of how sensitive it was, where they had to pray 4 hours a day just to feel sure the Holy Spirit was leading them to a place that was safe enough to go. And so I guess my question is, you spent 5 years on the field in Madagascar, roughly.
Yeah.
Do you experience something similar coming back home from Madagascar to the States? And if so, obviously, I don't think either one of us are scared of you, at least right now, going back to Madagascar. Who knows? The Lord might call you back. We're not. We want what the Lord wants.
Yeah.
But what is that? And what is it about being out on the field that is almost make like more spiritually alive, if that's your experience?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just say I didn't end up in this church, and I didn't end up a pastor in this church, and I didn't end up getting to lead a congregation and call them out the way I feel like I'm called to call them out. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were there last night at a leadership rally, and I dared the church to go to some pretty crazy places.
Yeah.
And I just said, I dare you. And I'll figure out how to fund it if you do.
Yeah.
Like, I'll figure it out. And if I didn't end up in this place right here with a congregation that was like feeling like they want to go. I mean, 52 going to Mexico.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I see that there's a heartbeat here and an aliveness here. But let's just say that wasn't where I landed. Let's say I landed back and went from this high intensity mission field and I'm like, whatever, I just want to be a delivery service for Amazon. And I started doing that. And then I just was going to church and that's how I saw church, sleepy and a back row sitting. Oh man, I would already quit and moved back to Madagascar already. But that's not the case for me. I showed up with you guys. You remember my first day here?
Yeah.
Rainy as all get out, and I only owned a motorcycle. And I
Showed up
rode
soaking
in
wet. Yeah.
soaking wet.
Yeah.
Came into the office, and I'm just like, "Whoa, I'm your new pastor. You ready for staff meeting?"
Yeah.
And I was freezing and trying to dry off in the office. And I think it just revealed who I am
Yeah.
in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is our pastor.
Yeah.
and that's the reality. But this is, I inherited a church ready for mission, ready to go, ready to do something challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're on right now. So I'm not coming back. I didn't come back to the States in the more in a sleepy environment.
Yeah.
And if it was, then I didn't. Then maybe I came in and set the alarm off, which woke everything up. But I don't think that's the case. I think I showed up right here to an anticipation that this is who I was. This is what we're gonna drive after.
Yeah.
And we've seen a church do it.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've been here, and I've only been here how long? A year and a half.
Yeah. A year and a half. Yeah.
JP twice.
Yep.
Hungary, Thailand,
Yep.
Madagascar,
Yep.
21 to Madagascar, and now 52 to Mexico.
Yeah.
A church that's like, here am I, Lord, send me,
Yep.
use me, and people waiting for what's next.
Yeah.
Someone just asked me today, when is Madagascar again? And I go, hold on, I just got to get through Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, I love it, but
Yeah.
my true desire is that someone's going to go, it's got to be me to move there.
Yeah.
I miss Madagascar a ton. I
Yeah.
see what's going on in the church there. It's exciting.
Yeah.
They just got back from a new unreached place, Muslim town. They flew in with MAF, and I just see these videos of our pastors over there doing this, and I'm just like, man, I sure miss it, Lord.
Yeah.
But I'm loving where we're at right now, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade this in for anything.
Mm.
This is where I'm meant to be, and I feel it every single day. It feels missional.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I think,
That's cool.
there's something really beautiful about, I definitely think that was sowed as well by Steve and Katie Morgan,
For
the
sure.
pastor beforehand. I can't wait to talk to them, hopefully this season. I would love to have them on if they're available, because that's also been their heart. I think that's something that's been beautiful about this body in particular, is that strand has been maintained throughout the duration of the church's existence. So with all that said, for you, do you find it to be any more, and maybe this is like a short-sighted question, but do you find it to be any more challenging to maintain that fire, that kind of radicalness here than when you were in Madagascar for you, like personally? Obviously you've come back to a church that's ready to go, and but like, do you find that that's been difficult?
Yeah, that camera turned off, and then
Okay.
it came back on. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Do you want anything on my face when I answer?
We've got a wide shot.
Okay.
The
Oh, cool.
The rest of this podcast can be audio only.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
No, keep it rolling. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I do, I'm gonna have to dump the footage, and it's gonna take us out of the flow. I feel like we're in a flow. We just need to keep
Okay.
going.
Yeah,
All right.
it's good.
It's all good. That
So-
camera just stopped, and I think we still have the wide shot, so we can just keep using it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So personally, do you feel like it's like more difficult to maintain that?
In me personally.
Yeah. Coming off the field? Because your
there's-
story getting out to Madagascar, we don't necessarily have to hash the whole thing out unless you want to, but it's a
Yeah.
crazy story, like how you
It
guys
is
even got
crazy.
out there.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew that was a God calling. And when all this was happening, I had to ask the Lord, am I settling? Like, does that make sense? Like, am
Yeah.
I settling just for the sake of my son to get a better education, to him to have the Americana experience,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Like, am I settling, Lord? If I am, tell me now. Or if I'm not, like, would you help just bring things to life? And just little things would start making sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there are days I lay in bed and go, man, like I wake up and I think I'm in Madagascar. I think that happened last night, actually, 2 nights ago, laying in bed. And I thought I was literally in my bed in Madagascar. And I rolled up and I was looking around like, why does it feel different? Like, why am I disoriented? And then I realized, I'm in Chesapeake.
Yeah.
What a bummer,
What
bro.
is happening? Like, where am I? Yeah.
What a massive L if you feel like you're in Madagascar. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
It
funny.
was this unique feeling. Like, I thought I was back there, and then I was here, and then I have tattoos all over me, and sometimes I look at my arm and I remind myself.
Those
what
are
I live
real?
For. They're real.
Oh.
I look down, I'm like, here am I, Lord. Send me. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, like, I surrender. This is where I'm at. And then we hit the mission field again, which makes me, I don't know, I wonder if it makes me hard to be around because I'm like, let's go. Like, we got to do this. We got to do that. I got a crazy idea. And this and that. Like, I don't know, maybe people get weirded out by it, or maybe they're just intrigued to see what comes next. I don't know, but it's just who I am, and it's how I'm now wired.
Yeah.
And I can't stop talking about it. Like poor Caroline, she she hears all my ideas, like, oh, maybe we'll do like 4 mission trips next year, or maybe we'll do local missions next year, or maybe we'll do this, and she's just like, well, just let me know, you know. And I don't even know how I'm answering this, but I am content with where we are, and I don't feel a sleepiness here.
Yeah.
At all. It was funny. I think people say it's hard to reach people in America, and that's actually that's not what I'm feeling. I think people are people, and
It's good.
depending on if you treat them as people or as a project or as a whatever, they figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
If I'm just out there to evangelize for the sake of
see God, I'm evangelizing.
people know real quick, if they just see that I really love them as a neighbor, then to love them would be to speak Christ, because I don't know what else to share if he's my passion. So if they're going to share their passion of dogs or sports or whatever, and then I can in turn get to talk about my passion.
Yeah.
I hope that's honoring to them
Yeah.
because I don't have anything else more worthy to talk about than Christ.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's received by me.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what else to talk about. What do you do for a living? I'm a pastor. Oh, what's that like?
Yeah.
You know, and it's an automatic
build things without materials.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more like spiritual and
It's fun. And then they share their stories and I get to share my stories, and
right.
Jesus is always in the mix of it. It's that, or I talk about judo, and it's about or of course my family.
Yeah.
But even in the conversation of my family, always seems to lead to Christ.
Yep.
Conversation of where I used to live last. Oh, I used to live in Africa. Oh, what were you doing there? I mean,
Yeah.
pretty fun conversations.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had this burden, and I just literally just talked to Rachel about it, and my wife, and I was like, I feel like I just hate small talk. Like I feel like there's something about, I just don't like, if you're going to come up to me and ask me the same 3 questions, hey, how you doing? How's the kids? Like, whatever. What are you up to these days? Like, I would much rather, and this is what I said, I would much rather spend one-on-one time with somebody and go deeper and like actually get to the heart of the matter. But I think what you just said is like revealing something even in me right now. And maybe those of you who are listening or watching too, is like, maybe if you have like a disposition to hate small talk, it's because you're not talking about Jesus enough.
Well, I mean, so
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, I think, and what I'm hearing from you, like when it comes to, not coming back to the States and being spiritually sleepy, coming off them, is because there's just an obsession with Jesus and what he's all about that causes every place that your foot treads to be the mission field.
Yeah.
That's that verse you read.
Yeah. Yeah. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news and who publishes peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I didn't leave my heart in Madagascar, and I didn't leave my heart in Idaho.
That's good.
I gave it to Jesus. So that's it. So wherever we go, hey, I get a wholeheartedly love where I'm at, and I wholeheartedly love where I'm at. I love this church, love Chesapeake. I feel like a local. You guys have helped me.
Yes.
Feel like a local,
yes.
And I got my favorite surf spot. It's probably the worst of the surf spots, but it's my favorite.
Hold on,
yeah, it's good.
It's like the only surf spot.
Okay.
Well, I love this. This is, I mean, as we continue to have conversations about missions, and the cool part about this season is that we're going to have conversations with people who love missions. I mean, with people who love, and I want to hit on that before we finish up today, but really, like if someone's listening and they're like, okay, missions, essential part of being a disciple. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is true because Matthew 28, I mean, go therefore unto all the world, baptizing all nations, making disciples by teaching everything that I have commanded to you. And then he bookends that command with, before he even says that, he says, I have all authority in heaven and on earth. It's been granted to me. This is Jesus. And then at the end, and lo, I am with you until the end of the age. So if I have all the authority and I'm always with you, then you have access to that authority to go carry out. So people listening to this is a call to every believer.
That's cool.
This is not, I was thinking about this earlier when you were talking about catching that fire, where the Lord challenged you in Guatemala at 19 years old about being, radically about what Jesus is about. I wonder if and by the way, this is not I know you'll hear this from me, that this is not a questioning of your calling to be a leader or anything like that. But I wonder if the people who end up becoming leaders in most churches kind of do it kind of in a vacuum because they're the ones that have caught the call that's on every believer's life. And a lot of the leaders in our churches are not like particularly radical. They're just surrendered and they fill the vacuum of leadership that's needed because not every believer has caught the idea that the radical call to mission that's in Matthew 28 is for everyone. I'm not saying that that those people don't belong in leadership. That's not. It's more that we have a lot more people. Everyone is called to lead, and some will be pastors, and some will be prophets, and some will be evangelists, and some will serve in this area and serve in this area. But everyone is called to this radical call. Everyone is called to it, but very few, I think, catch that vision, and that's, I think, something that we're hoping is like. To catch that vision is not for you to like manufacture a love for missions as much as it's just to be obsessed with Jesus. Really, like that's kind of what I'm hearing from you is like, it's just to be obsessed with Jesus. Like wherever your feet happen to be, wherever you happen to live, wherever you happen to go and travel or whatever. If you're obsessed with Jesus, then the mission will come naturally.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, maybe the thing that is a I wouldn't say a particular struggle with America, but man, the success that this nation has been able to enjoy, I think, has really given us the opportunity to be obsessed with a lot of inferior stuff.
And that's why I like 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, and it's just my takeaway, Paul was calling out the Corinthian church because they professionalized church. And because of that, he's now talking to all of them. Don't you remember, guys? Like, you're all meant to be a living letter. You're all meant to be fragrance. You're all meant to be a fragile jar of clay.
Yep.
You're all meant to have this light shining in the darkest place, which was once your heart, but now I've put light in it.
Yeah.
And now light shines from every heartbeat inside of you. Yesterday, and even in February, I said to the church, I want this house, the church, our building, to become a printing press. So I love that the word is published.
Yeah, it's so good.
To be a post office. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if our living letters were timely, like on time? Like maybe this person has been sitting around for 40 years and wondering, God, when are you ever going to use me? But the timeliness of that 40-year-old story is going to be exact for that neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean, I challenged at this leadership rally. So if you're like, I didn't hear pastor preach that, you had to be at the leadership rally.
Yeah.
But this idea of like, what if you didn't focus on the 8 billion, you just focused on 1 this year and 1 next year and for 5 years? We could finish this if every believer took the call seriously.
Yep.
A few weeks ago in church, I asked the church, don't you just love the Great Commission? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, do you really?
You're like, what is it? And they're like,
yeah.
Do you really love it? And then I asked the hardest thing. When was the last time you discipled somebody? And it's not that I'm trying to be rude or convicting or shaming or anything like that. It is just, again, the proper challenge to the people of God to live out the mission of God.
Yeah.
Like, it's for all of us. The last thing I asked us was, could we be that delivery service more timely than Amazon? Could we be a bridge?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to challenge in this moment is like, could we be treaded on? So if we could say, tread on me, I will be a bridge to Christ.
Yep.
That's basically like saying, for better or for worse, till death do I part.
Yep.
It's like wedding vows to Jesus, and aren't we meant to be his bride anyway? That we're saying these things like, life ends in death.
Yep.
That's inevitable. So if I'm gonna die for anything, wouldn't it be best to die for what I live for?
Yes. That's good.
Now, I know that I don't want to get in a conversation of death and anything like that. That's not, or sickness or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about, like, if I could choose it, I want to die for what I live for, which means I better live for what I'm willing to die for.
It's good.
So it's not even about the death.
Yeah.
It's about the life.
Yep.
Because every single day I get life.
Yeah.
Every single day I get to wake up.
Yep.
And I want to live for what I'm willing to die for. And then when I'm willing to die for Jesus.
Yep.
I'm willing to die for my family, of course. And I'm not trying to darken the mood. I'm just saying, like, I'm truly free. Not to do what I want, but to do what his will is.
Yeah.
And
It's good.
that's radical in my mind. Or it's actually normal. But we've turned it to a word radical.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the heart of it. I think getting believers to understand that the call that Jesus has for every follower is actually not radical, even though we have been kind of conditioned to think of this call as radical. It's actually it's supposed to be the kingdom status quo. Mm-hmm. It's the eternal norm, if you will. That's a flipping of things on its head. To live that sacrificially, to look at everyone around you who doesn't know the Lord yet and be like, you can use me to get to Jesus, and you don't have to owe me anything. Mm-hmm. You can use me at my expense to get to Jesus. I'll pay. I thought about. We just went through the book of Philemon in youth group.
Yeah.
And Philemon, being a wealthy Roman citizen that Paul is writing the letter to, had a slave, Onesimus, that ran away and then went to Paul in Rome. And so Paul writes this letter basically telling Philemon, hey, welcome. Onesimus gives his life to Jesus. Paul leads him to the Lord. Paul's like, I'm going to send Onesimus back to you, but receive him back as a brother, not as a slave anymore. In the kingdom, he is one of us, as a brother.
And he says, he's a child to me.
He says he's a child to me.
Which means, like, I've adopted him. So if you want to put my child back in slavery, like, you can, but I'm asking if you would make him a brother.
And he says to him,
it's like wild.
And he says to him, and this is what blows me away. This is like, I asked the youth, would we be willing to do this with people? He says to him, if he's ever wronged you or stolen from you, tell me what you are owed and I will repay it. Mm-hmm. Which is Paul, clear as day, but it's Paul going, I will do for him what Christ has done for me. Mm-hmm. I will pay whatever needs to be paid. Paul's not saying he can pay for his sins. That Jesus already did that for him.
Right.
But whatever debts, whatever things he was at, whatever wrongs, whatever it was, whatever price had to be paid, physically, emotionally, mentally, Paul was like, I'm going to pay it for him, because that's all been done for me by Jesus. And the other people, by Ananias,
right?
Who, and I think of Ananias when Paul was blinded on the road to Damascus and then brought into his home. Ananias paid the price of bringing in the killer of Christians to his home, hosting the killer of Christians in his home. That's a price. That's sacrifice. That's getting walked on as a bridge to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And so that's a crazy thing to think about, but that's what he calls all of us to. And
wow.
That's really good. The last thing, and then we can wrap up. I've heard you say this before, and I know I'm not trying to like pin you into some kind of theological position, but I have loved it in Matthew 24, where Jesus says, he talks about his return. I'm just going to paraphrase, but in Matthew 24, he talks about his return, and he says, once every nation has been reached, then the Son of Man will return. Mm-hmm. And I've heard you before say, so it sounds like we have a role to play in Jesus' return. Like, could the church have potentially expedited Christ's return if we had been more faithful to the mission? That's why I think it gets so important that mission is at home, but it is to the nations.
Yeah.
Because we don't live in an unreached nation. We live in a very reached nation. Are there people in this nation that don't know Jesus? Yeah, that's why we continue the mission in this nation. Mm-hmm. But there are unreached nations that need to be reached. So why is it important that the church catches the vision for the unreached nations, for the global church?
Yeah.
That's a big question. But in your mind, like, why has that been something you've been so passionate about, getting to the places where Jesus has not been preached yet?
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about this specific.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm happy for the question. It is something that I am really passionate about. I think and people could hash it out if they want to. It's up to them, but whatever. At least it keeps me on purpose for mission.
Yeah.
So if anything, at least I'm on purpose for mission.
Yeah.
Jesus does say these, unless every tribe, nation, and tongue has heard, I'm not coming back. So when we see all these signs of the times and earthquakes and wars and rumors of wars, like in my mind, the worst thing you can do is run for the hills, build your bunkers, and think that that's going to save you from calamity. Like, if anything, that is the worst place to be. The safest place to be is at the center of the will of God. And if that is to do missions, the safest place to be is to go and do it and to be his hands and feet. Because if God is omnipresent, and I believe we believe that, what if his body needs to be omnipresent in every spot on earth, like every corner of the earth? And that's not going to happen if he's not allowed in Comoros, if he's not allowed in Iran, if he's not allowed in North Korea. Well, it's never going to happen if the church doesn't do it, if the church doesn't get creative, if the church doesn't press for it. I mean, even me, you're about to watch me go, whoa, we need to remodel the church here. Like, I still find the importance to take care of the church here. Like, I want to add this to the church. I want 2 services. I want this and that. For what at the end, though? For the Great Commission to go, like that the church would get so stirred up that there would be this both and, that you care for the home, but you always teach them to go. And I want to see it done. I want to see it done in our lifetime. And if it's not, at least we're not going backwards. Yeah. Did you know that statistics are showing that we're going backwards? Yeah. More people are being born than people are receiving the gospel. Yeah. So this is like one of the first years it's going backwards because of population growth in unreached areas, population growth in countries that is not hearing the gospel. So I think I heard that right. So you should do your own research on that.
Yeah.
However,
I didn't even know that was a statistic.
Yeah. Like, statistics are wild these days. And that's one of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
So my thought is, this is what I'm called to, not just called to do, like this is the job I have as a pastor. We always think it's about just taking care of the local flock. Well, really, I'm just going to keep calling out the local flock because, oh man, you catch me in these moments and then I say things kind of harshly. But I feel like I spend a lot of my time helping people and coming out of these little moments that kind of are selfish or helping them navigate that or pray over these things. Yeah. But the remedy is to get the focus off of you and to put it on someone else. Yeah. Like, if you care about your life, you will lose your life for his sake. Yep. If you really care about self-preservation, then you would die to yourself, take up your cross and follow after him. And the way that you've always wished to be loved or wish you had certain things, you would actually desire that for your neighbor. Yeah. Yeah. My puppy died, as you guys know. My dog died, and it was really a sad moment, and it's been sad for my family. And we missed our dog. And sometimes I get on this little rant with God, like, God, why can't I just have a puppy? Why can't I just have the finer things in life? Like, I'm serving you. I went to Madagascar for you. I moved to another city for you. Like, I. And then I heard the Lord say, yeah, Brandon, some people need those comforts. Let them have it. But you got me.
That's good.
You have me. You have the greatest comfort living inside of you.
Come on.
And I take a deep breath and I go, okay, but I still miss my puppy.
Yeah.
Like, of course. And, but Oreos, I used to call my comfort food. Yeah. Jesus is my comfort food.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not trying to sound holier than thou, and I'm not
Are
trying
you
to sound
saying that because
anything.
Communion Sunday is this Sunday?
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I mean, to your point, I remember.
That's a good point.
If this is too vulnerable, I just remember when I went to the field to Madagascar to visit you guys,
Mm-hmm.
and we all went to Paradisa Kelly, the little paradise, the village that had been
Yeah.
on the East Coast. We were up late. We'd done worship and teaching, and we're hanging out with the members of the village, and then most people went to sleep, and we were up playing games. And there was a moment, I think, where I was up playing games with some of the guys that were on the trip, but you had gone off to bed
Mm-hmm.
earlier than maybe I think you even wanted to. I don't even know if you remember this.
Probably not.
And you came back the next morning. This stuck with me. So again, I know this is you not saying this is holier than thou, but I'm just testifying to the fruit of, like, I think that when you say that Jesus, you're your comfort food, I remember you saying, sorry guys, I went to bed early last night. I honestly got really stressed out and anxious. I started having all these thoughts flooding about moving back to the States and taking over a church, and I got overwhelmed, and I just needed to go spend some time with the Lord. So I was just going, and I just went and read Jeremiah for a little bit, but until I fell asleep. And I was like, I just remember personally being like, that is not my default when I get stressed out, but it didn't make me feel condemned. I was so encouraged by, man, I want that. I want my default to be that I go eat up the word when I'm in these moments of stress, when I'm in these moments of anxiety. I want that. I want the word to be that sufficient for me. I want Jesus to be that sufficient for me. And I don't think there's any greater medicine for sin than mission.
Yeah.
Like it's what I've started to realize is the most freeing thing. There's nothing that's been more freeing for me in my life from all of the temptations of the world, from all of the desires of the flesh, than mission, than not focusing on how to beat it. All of these strategies and seminars, and I'm not against any of those things, but when we start to get our eyes off of ourselves and onto other people is when we lose our appetite for what serves our flesh. And I haven't even started to realize that until really recently, until the last few years, where I'm like, I live in and walk on the most freedom when I am just concerned about the will of God and where that should put me. And so anyways, yeah, it's really good. I would encourage anybody who's in our body feeling like they're not qualified to be on mission for Jesus. You're right. You're not, and neither are we. The three of us at this table alone are not qualified. But with Jesus, we are qualified, and he qualifies us to go do the work he's called us to do. And so I do think that we need to have breakthrough moments of repentance, that if there are things that are hidden in the dark in our life, they need to come out and come open. God has called us to be people who live in the light. It's going to be difficult to share light if we don't live in it. Yeah. But man, like, let's have those moments and then move into mission. Let's not have those moments and then sit idle hands are the things that Proverbs warns about over and over for a reason. I'm starting to see more why. It's when we have these moments of breakthrough and then we're idle again, that we're just right back to the thing we were struggling with. Yep. When the reality is that this active, frenetic life with the Holy Spirit, it makes sense to me why Paul opens every letter with grace and peace to the church. He doesn't say those things as like a nice salutation. Grace and peace, guys, what's up? It's grace, the power.
Could you imagine if Paul was just like,
I can now.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Right? Like, so grace, the power to do what God has called you to do. And peace, the comfort of God to get you through what he's called you to do. All the things that you would need. He says it to the church at every letter that he's written, grace and peace for a reason, because Jesus has everything that we need to do what he's called us to do.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I just think about when we sit in our staff meetings, and sometimes we look at each other and we look at the list of things we have to do sometimes, and I'm like, are we okay? Nick, you ready to roll, buddy?
let's go get Chick-fil-A. The list keeps getting longer. And we're just you'll find us at the chicken joint up the road.
That's good fuel.
It is. It is.
I do my best work when I'm not hungry.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I get it.
This is good.
It is good. It is.
Well, mission, that's the theme, and we're going to continue to talk about it. What it actually is. I'm thankful for this conversation. It's helped define what it actually is. Yeah. And how to continue to catch vision for it. I'm so excited to hear from other people in our body about how they caught vision for the mission.
Yeah.
And so thanks for sharing your heart on it. And
Yeah, man.
and it's, I think, the central strand of the DNA of this church.
Yes.
I pray that it'll continue to be the central strand of the DNA of every person in our body, that they catch the fire individually and they start to see where they play a part in the mission of our church collectively, and we all go do crazy things for Jesus. It might be crazy to the world, but the things that the Lord has called us to do. So.
I literally texted in the staff group text, and I said, I feel like the popcorn's heating up. It's about to pop. It's about to start popping. It's like I can feel the temperature rising, and I mean, I don't know if you guys felt that last night, just by how many people came up to you after the leadership rally. But I felt like, I had several people that were like, I don't like to talk in front of people, but I felt like the Lord wants me to sing on the worship team. And I was like,
amazing.
I love that.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
Yeah.
dude, God is doing something. He's stirring it. He's stirring it up.
Yeah, he is. You're right. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This has been the Bridge Christian Fellowship Podcast, Season 2 of Room for Mistakes. We'll be back hopefully next week.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get video and audio up for you guys. And we're not going to tell you who the next guest is, partly because we don't totally know yet. We have an idea.
Yeah, don't let him fool you. He doesn't have a plan. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we have a little bit of a plan, but you'll find out when you tune in next time. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.
And I will say